All right, today we're going to talk about block bracketing and how you do it, okay, inside of USA Bracketing. So first off, we've already done our import in. You can import in or have registrations and bring them in. However you're going to do that, we're going to have that capability. But I want to make sure that you have the settings correctly, that you have the right things done for block bracketing, and then we'll do some of the catches and things that you would get caught up on during block bracketing, so that we can kind of fix those as we go. So the first thing we're going to do is make sure we have our settings correct. So we're going to go setup, and then we're going to go to settings, and we're going to go to bracketing. Okay. We want to make sure that in bracketing methods that we have block bracketing selected, because that will make it where we have the block option when we go to operating bracketing in just a few minutes. Okay. The second thing we want to make sure of is that we have our event field. So in our event fields, we want to make sure that as a core field, we have actual weight added to the tournament. So at this point, to block bracket someone, you don't need them in weight classes. You need them in a division and need them inside and to have their actual weight inputted, whether that be through weigh-ins or if you collected it at registration, whatever that may be, so that we have the actual weights to be able to block bracket them. Okay. So once those two settings are set, we're pretty much ready to go a little bit. Okay. So what we're going to do is one, I want to go check out my wrestlers real quick, and we're going to go look at our wrestlers. And when I look at my wrestlers, I'm going to see that I have wrestlers in the tournament. I have their actual weights. I have them in their divisions. And if I filter this and take off the filter so you can see everyone, I can see all the different wrestlers I have in the tournament. I have 202 actual weights are in. They don't have weight classes yet because they haven't been blocked. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to operating, and then we're going to go to bracketing. Okay. Now we see this block tab, and we're going to go to the block tab. Okay. So now we have some things up here that we can go through. We can go through our priority settings. All right. And our priority settings are going to be what the weight difference tolerance is. Medium is usually what people do. What's the difference in the weight percentage? Usually 10 to 15% is what you want to block on. And so we'll use that 10 for now. Skill difference, if you're collecting skill like advanced, good, better, best type of thing, you can use those skill differences to be like, hey, they can only skip one tolerance. So basically, a good and an advanced wrestler or excellent wrestler could be grouped together. A beginner and an advanced couldn't be grouped together. However, you were going to do that, it can only go up one spot on the skill difference, not multiple spots. So you'd have to do that manually. Okay. Grade difference. If you were collecting grade, you could say what the difference in grade would be, how many grades they could skip and be blocked together. Right now, we don't collect grades, so we're going to say none. And the same thing with age. You can say how many years do you want to block them for, whatever like that. Okay. Under our bracket restrictions, we have this max same state, which is 100%, and max same team, which is 50%, which is usually what you want to keep it at because you're trying to make sure that you are separating teams from each other when you're blocking and that sort of thing. And pretty much in the local tournaments, everybody's from the same state. But what I would say is, in some cases where you have a really heavy presence from one team in particular, you may have to up this level so that they block correctly. And you don't have to do a lot of manual manipulation of the blocking. Right here with your group sizes, we could go, our target is 4. We can make that anything we wanted to. We could also say what our max target is. So we're going to go with a 4 and a 5 because we want 4-man round robins, but we'll accept 5-man. And as we do that, it will try to bracket those out as long as we have our bracket types selected. Okay. Now from our display settings, we can go to no divisions, what's going to end up on to start with. And that would just, if someone was in the tournament with no division, you'd be able to block them into just weight classes alone. But most people are going to be in a division, so you'll need to select these. So before I get into too much more, I'm going to just show you right now. If you go over here to your bracket types, let's make sure that we have our round robin bracket types in. We have a 2-man best of 3, 3-man, 4-man, 5-man round robins, and then we have an 8-man in case we wanted to do some regular bracketing. Okay, so these bracket types are what it will use based on your group sizes. It will use these bracket types to automatically assign them to the groups. Okay, so now let's go back to bracketing, go back to block. And then first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to choose this weight division of 6U. Now, when I choose 6U, I see that it's like, wait, they're already in this whole group, and it's got a weight class of 37 to 66. That's a wide margin. 8 wrestlers in it with Madison. Well, when I imported these guys in, I imported the weight class from USA membership called Madison. So it puts them all in the same grouping. Okay, so we don't want this. We need to remove this. All right. So what I can do is I can delete the selected here, and I can delete this selected weight class. And when I delete it, it will remove the weight class for me, and it leaves the wrestlers there, so now I can start blocking them. Okay, so if you see the Madison there, you can just delete that and then start blocking away. Okay, so now as I get into my blocking here, I can see a few things here. So first, I've got a 37.2, I've got a 43 to 45. I want to make some of these different. I want to make a 2-man best of threes and a 3-man round robin. So what I can do here is say, hey, who's the lowest guy in this weight? And I'll choose this guy here, and I want to put him up here in this group. So I'm just going to grab the 6 dots and drag him up, and I can move him up there. So now this turns into a 2-man best of 3. This turns into a 3-man round robin. Okay. I can look down here again, and I've got this one here. So now I've got a 66 pounder, and I've got this 49 and a half. So I'm going to leave these just like they are, and I'm going to take this 66 pounder, and I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to let him wrestle with the 8Us, just for giggles. All right. So to do that, I can move him to the other division by clicking the remove wrestler. And when I click the remove wrestler, it will bring me up this modal window right here. And in this modal window, I can say, what do we want to do as current division? We're going to remove it. And I want to move him up to the 8U division. Okay. So once I do that and continue, it's going to remove him from the Marine list. And it moved him up into the other division to be bracketed in just a second. We'll see him in there. Okay. So once I like everything I have here, I'm good with it. I'm just going to hit create selected, and it's going to create those brackets for me. All right. These are the defaults. It's going to rebuild the brackets if they need to. It's going to build new brackets or new weight classes, and it's going to delete the empty weight classes. And I'm good with that, so I'm going to let it happen. All right. And that's basically your defaults, and you can leave it like that for the most part. All right. Now I'm going to go to my 8Us just to show you again. When I go to my 8Us, now that 66 pounder got dropped into here. And so we can see that 66 pounders in here already moved up to 8U, so he's ready to go. Okay. So now we can do the same thing again. We can click on that remove wrestler. And now we can move this guy to 10U because he's too heavy for this one if we wanted to. And then we can look at our blocks, and everything looks pretty good here. Just for giggles, I want to make this one right here, be a 5-man. So I could drag these guys individually down, or I could hit this move all the wrestlers. And say I want to move them all to the next weight class and move them, and now it will group them like that for me. Okay. So I can do any of those things I want. If I have a certain person in a weight and I'm like, you know what? I don't want this guy in here. I want to do something separate. I can separate him out by clicking the little line with the 2 arrows, and that will actually separate him out into a different group, where now I can drag somebody up and put him in another group with, say, that guy. Okay. So I can move them all into a same weight class. I can split them if I need to split them. I can drag them individually. All those things work. Okay. And then once I have my grouping there, again, I'll create selected. And then once I do this, it's already building out these brackets and building these weight classes. So you can see that I have jobs scheduled. They're completed. And if I go to set up weights now, I'm going to see that I have 6U and 8U weight classes already built out. All my guys are there. I can go look at their brackets. We're ready to go with it. Everything's good to go there. Okay. So that's how you do your block bracketing. Now, a couple of the catch-alls, right? So say I had a kid that, hey, we got to add to the 8U division here for one of these things. Okay. So I'm just going to go into this. If I wanted to, I got 2 ways to deal with it. I can either reblock the weight, or I can just add the kid to an existing weight and move on. All right. So if I wanted to, I could grab this kid here. I could go in here, and just by going to wrestlers, I can add any wrestler that's in the tournament. And if I knew who he was and knew what it was going on, I'm just going to pick a kid. Not necessarily the right kid, but just a kid. All right. And I'm going to pick this kid, and I'm going to add him to the selected. Okay. So now he's added to this weight class. All right. Now when I go back to weights, I'm going to see that's a dirty bracket. And I can just click the rebuild, and it's going to rebuild this weight class with 3 guys in it now. And it's going to rebuild those guys into that weight for me. Okay. And that will rebuild this job, and it will turn this into a 3-man best of 3, and everything will be good here as it finishes up that job. Let that job finish. All right. And there you go. So that's the first way. Okay. The second way to deal with this is if I took a kid, and I'm going to go to wrestlers. I'll move this 10U down. Here it is. I'll move this 10U down to 8U instead. Okay. So when I move him down to 8U, I'm just going to click and change out his divisions. Okay. 8U. David. 8U Greco. 8U Freestyle. All right. And as I move him down to this division, now we've already blocked 8U out. So when I go to operating and I go to bracketing and then I go back to my block, when I'm looking at my display settings and I go to 8U, I'm going to see that this kid is now in here and he's waiting to be blocked. He's white where everybody else is green because they're already in the brackets and that kid's not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unselect these brackets that are already built that I like. I'm just going to leave that one done. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to create the selected there. Okay. So when I create that selected, which is this one right here, where he is not in it, I'm going to create that selected. And when it rebuilds now, it's going to rebuild this. I understand that it is about to blow away a bracket for me. And when it does that, now he's green, he's in the bracket. And now if I go look in there, 1, 2, 3, 4, we're going to have 4 guys in that bracket. So when I go to that bracket inside of my setup weights, I'm going to see that he's right here. And now when I look at the bracket, I'm going to have 4 guys on it. And everybody, there is Harper. And everybody's in there all good. So that's the ways that I can manipulate the brackets. Is I can either do it through the different ways of adding and deleting them to the division and go reblock it. Or I can just add them to an existing weight class and then rebuild it. All those little things can happen there as you need to. The biggest catch-alls are to make sure that you have actual weights and that you don't have that Madison weight class already set up in your weights when you do your importing. Okay. From there, you just block out the rest of your people. You'd go in and do your bout schemes to be able to number them and be able to get those done, assign weights to mats, however you're going to do it, and you'd be good to go for the rest of your tournament.